Hey guys, it's Audra and welcome back to 365 Projects. I am here today with my April wrap-up. I have 10 books to share with you today, 4 of which I listened to on audio. I have 5 5-star books. What a great month it was. I have 2 4-star and then 3 3-star books. And I'm actually going to share those in the reverse order, go from least to greatest, and share with you my thoughts real quick. And let's just get started. The first book I have to share with you that was a 3-star is The Beauty That Remains by Ashley Woodfolk. This was a great story about 3 different kids going through grief of losing someone their age that was very, very important to them, and somehow they're all connected. If you watch my 24-hour Dewey Readathon video, you'll see that I reached a very problematic moment, and I felt like I guess it would be like grief shaming, and so I struggled with that. But I did get through it. I did like the way the characters developed at the end. But you can listen to my rant on that video about what specifically was said. But it's just a great YA if you want to feel like your feelings are validated in your struggle with grief. Because I can personally relate to that very, very well as some of you can, I'm sure. The second one that was just a 3-star read for me was Fuzzy, and I'll just put it up on the screen here. I read this as an ebook, a part of Emoji-a-thon, and I finished it at the beginning of the month. This is just a middle grade book basically about a tech integration program that brings a robot into a school. There is a lot of undertones about what would happen if technology takes over, and about standardized testing as well within a school. And so it was a cute middle grade, but I honestly don't see a whole lot of my students picking it up. I only read it because it was on the Kansas state list for the year. And so, yeah, I got through it, but that's all I can really tell you about it. It was all right. My 3.5-star book would be Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. This one is another one that I listened to the majority of during the Dewey's 24-hour readathon on audio, which I loved. And this is basically about Audrey Rose, once again, trying to solve forensic mysteries and trying to figure out who Prince Dracula is. So there's a lot of forensic science and historical fiction mixed in, which is great. And I think I am in the minority in the fact that everybody said that this one was better than the first one, Stalking Jack the Ripper, and my opinions are completely the other way. I'm not exactly sure why they're flip-flopped, but that's just my opinion. It was all right. It got to the point that with Audrey Rose and her pining for Cresswell, I think is his name, you're like a whole first book, a whole 3/4 way through this one, and we're still pining and brooding and oh my gosh, is he gonna kiss me? Is he gonna hold my hand? It was old real quick, and I got tired of that. But I just found out they're putting out a third one, so I might get to the third one. We'll see. This one was just a 3.5. It was all right, but nothing to write home about. I had 2 4-star books, and the first one was Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This is kind of like a domestic thriller, I guess. And this is obviously a Book of the Month book, so I'm going to link all that information down below if you want to check it out. You'll get a free book, and I'll get a free book. So this is about a girl that goes missing, and later on in life, her mom is trying to restart her life because she got divorced from the missing girl's father. And she finds this man, and weirdly enough, his daughter looks exactly like her daughter did. And it's just kind of the story of how they figure out what happened with her. It was kind of very predictable, but I gave it the 4 stars because I kind of binged through it in a weekend, and it's been a while since I've done that. I just kind of kept going. It made me want to read and find out, see what was the next bizarre twist that would happen next. And so it was an all right read. It wasn't by any means one that really sticks out as the best of the year. But the way that it made me kept turning the pages and made me sucked into the story, I did enjoy. But definitely check this one out if you need a new domestic thriller. My other 4-star read was A Girl Like That. This has a lot to do with sexual assault, which I, for some reason, didn't know about going in. So there's definitely going to be a trigger warning for that. I also wasn't aware of the fact that it was going to be from her point of view after death, and that was kind of traumatizing to me at first for some reason. I just felt really weird about it. So basically, it's just about a girl named Zareen, and she is in a car crash and found dead out on a highway in Saudi Arabia with a boy, and they're trying to figure out why they were together and what's the whole story behind her, because she was a troubled girl and was acting out or whatever in their eyes, I guess. I learned a lot about the culture that she lives in, and it was very eye-opening, I guess, on how men treat women in this culture, if it is in fact a true depiction of that culture, I should say. And like the slut shaming, and there was just a lot of like heavy stuff going on with this. I also found out that culture wise and like using a different language and also different perspectives, like it was from different characters' points of view, I need to steer away from an audio version because it was really hard for me to like follow along, and like the parts that spoke about religion that I'm not familiar with, I really wanted to go back and like really dive deep into those pages to understand a little bit better. But that shouldn't take away from the plotline of the book. It still was a 4-star. I thought it was very well done. There were a lot of tough moments, so definitely trigger warnings all over the place for this one. And now we are getting ready for my 5-star book, so I'm sorry if I go on and on and on about them, but they're so, so good. The first one is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This one right here. I've already loaned it out to a friend, so I don't have a physical copy to share with you. But this is just another fantastic work from Kristen Hanna. It is about a man that gets back from the Vietnam War, and he is going through PTSD, and he decides that he's going to move his family up to Alaska. They're going to have to survive up there. It's just a really well-written book, as always, of hers, and so I always give her books 5-star. I've never given anything less the way that her story is developed. I did kind of get annoyed with, like, it was always emotional abuse, domestic abuse, like violent outbreaks, and like they just kept staying and staying and staying. But I understand that that is part of their story, and that there are women that go through that when it's domestic violence and how to leave. And so just know that going into it as well. It's another triggered book, but at this point, what isn't? But if you want a good story about survival and about PTSD and about a family making the best out of the life that they can provide for themselves, definitely check this one out. My next 5-star, which I never thought I would be able to give a graphic novel 5 stars, is I Hate Fairyland, Volume 1, Madly Ever After. This one is so stinking hilarious. This is about Gertrude, who gets sucked into fairyland. She can't find the key for like 27 years, and now she just hates everything. It kind of does substitution cursing, and so it doesn't actually curse. Like, it comes up with like the most random funny sayings because they're like in this like fairy candy land, and so it's just comical. It's all very gory as well, so just know that. It's definitely for a more mature audience. Yes, it's rated M for mature. But I enjoy this story, and I'll probably pick up the next 2 just to see how the story continues to go on. This next book, you guys, oh my gosh. I have so many feelings about this, and I want to create a whole video, but I don't think it's my place in this community to do so. This is Ghost Boys by Jewel Parks Rose. To my knowledge, this is the first police brutality middle grade. Yeah, it's middle grade. So this is from the point of view of a little black child who was shot and killed by police for having a toy gun. And it is from that kid's point of view. I read the first page and I had absolute chills. Like, I'm getting chills thinking of it now. Wow. I had so many feelings while reading this book and so many thoughts. I even had to like talk to my friends about it. I was like, how is this a middle grade that we as a society needs? How have we gotten to this point that our kids need this as a window to see into somebody else's life or a mirror to see into their own? That disturbs the heck out of me, but it was so well written. It goes back and forth between like his afterlife and what led up to this situation. And you also see, as he is watching his family, another ghost, the Ghost Boys that come up that have been shot and killed just like him, and one of which is Emmett Till. And so you have that historical line as well in the story. This was just fantastically done, but like I said, it kills me and it bothers me so much that this is what our kids need. Because it's middle grade, it's written for kids. I don't know that it would fit into my specific school, but I know there are young children in other areas that need a book like this. So I just need to move on. But 5-star, check it out. Cannot recommend it enough for every adult, every single one of us. The next 5-star read I have for you is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. If you haven't heard of this one, where have you been? This, like it is advertised as like a Hocus Pocus practical magic vibe, and I absolutely loved it. I watched Hocus Pocus like 15 times in October alone. So this is about a community that once every year these three sisters come back to haunt that community because in like the 1800s that community drowned them for being too flirtatious with the men in their community, and they thought they were witches, and so they were down for that. And so now they come back to haunt them. When these ghosts come back to haunt, they actually like take over the bodies of the teenage girls in the town, and they drag the boys into the lake and kill them that way. And so this is about a girl who is able to see their presence within a body and how she goes about keeping that to herself while protecting somebody that she kind of falls for. So there's a romance. The ending is outstanding. The atmosphere as well. Oh, so good. I have not read anything like this before, and I'm hoping that this author writes some more in the future. And the last 5-star book is Young Jane Young by Gabrielle Zevin. This is a recommendation from Chelsea Doling Reads, and I absolutely love this. This is kind of like the retelling or like a modernization, I guess, of the Monica Lewinsky story about a girl who falls for a governor, and she's the one that is shamed, and she's the one that has to pay for it. What I liked the most about it was the characters. So you have 5 different points of view, and there's a few different ways of how the story is told, and I fell in love with the viewpoint of her mother. It was hysterical, the first one, and then there was also like emails, I think, at one point, and then there was like a choose your own adventure style at the end. I just love the way the story was told, and I loved seeing the characters develop throughout the story. There was one part that I think I'm going to do a whole video for that has not been mentioned on anything that I've seen about this book, would be the fact that, you know, we have trigger warnings for everything, but not for cancer. And so if you are somebody from my breast cancer community that you are here for those videos and you're still hanging on at the end of this one, there is a character in here that does have breast cancer. And I immediately wanted to throw it across the room, but it ends up being okay. So spoiler alert there, but if you were in my shoes, you would understand why I share that information. But I had a good laugh because she talked about the struggles of growing your hair back and having to always draw your eyebrows on and having like your eyebrows getting sweat off. And so I think that if you are from that community of mine, this is still an okay read. It's not very triggering, but yeah, just go in knowing that that is part of the characterization in one section of the book, and it's okay. So those are the 10 books that I read in the month of April. There was a lot of great reads. I don't know that I've ever had 5-star reads, and so I'm super excited about that. I cannot wait to see what May holds for me because I think I'm doing like 3 readathons. So stay tuned for all of those TBRs, all those vlogs. Definitely let me know what you've read recently that you think I need to pick up. If you have a fantastic contemporary, a historical fiction, World War II, like some different diverse books that have like topics that are more taboo, I would love, love, love to hear some more recommendations from you. So until next time, bye guys.